fuck with my sisters, then I got a problem, I'm never gonna miss you. I got 100 hanging out the AR, I got a 50 hanging out the pistol. He say it's corner, I'm just being realistic. I be on them corner posted with the realest. If it's a Sabbath, then we going fishing. I'm reeling them in, that's a God-given mission. I'm really on 10, but I'm stamped in the pistol. I get the order, be glad of this mission. Hebrew Academy graduate, nigga. Training, put through the baddest conditions. I don't fuck with none but the baddest of bitches. She righteous, submissive, she glad to be with me. And that thing Putin like that, man, nigga. She know I'm a prophet, she glad to be listening. Disrespect, I ain't having that shit. Tell her go make some business from scratch. She bitchin' the different breed of black men. We don't do the back bend. I remember back when I was really trapping, trying to get the racks in, selling dope to black men. But now I'm trying to make it straight. Like, don't forget about my face. We standing up straight, can't fold us. Too heavy, the world won't hold us. Go get some rank, I told you. Line up in these ranks, we soldier. You can take that to the bank, we focus. Ooh, how many times must we remind you? One body, one way, some way. I would never take up as a place. When the law with you ain't no up next. It's just us, nigga, that's that on that. All that weak shit, that ain't no threat. Say you won't beat, bitch, with that ain't no sweat. We with all that. We with all that. The Lord called a nigga out the world. I responded and called back. Oh Lord. And everything that they stole from us, fuck that shit. We want all that. Them niggas snitching and they act like bitches. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They killing women and they fuck with sisters. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die. So that's why we unaffiliated with them. Come under command and general YAHANNA. We unaffiliated with them. They tongue and they say they keep that shit 100. We unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die. So that's why we unaffiliated with them. That's why we unaffiliated with them. I cannot fuck around with fake niggas. We taking ground when we in your city. You better have the women, have the liquor. Keep that bitch on me, please don't but the same. Don't be a fool and be another victim. Say you a goon, you just another Christian. How you my brother, you ain't in here with me. In the gutter, deep down in the trenches. We with them niggas locked up in the prison. Black and Hispanic, Native American, Indian. We ain't just talking shit, but we living in it. We be everywhere, you can't miss it. And we be fresh as hell, take a picture. And we professional with the scriptures. Play, we gon' script from yeah, we some killers. These niggas tripping, they mind blown. Swear business, forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't get it pause when niggas say that they be looking for niggas to slide on. The slide that I know about is when I assemble the group with the slide on. Real, I get the order, you know that it's slaughter. See me and my niggas gon' die. The bigger the better for kingdom of heaven. You niggas get wet up by me cause I'm fed up. I rep UPK. My niggas won't let up. Got choppers, got 9s, AKs, Berettas. You say you don't like me, you say you won't fight with what me and my nigga like, bitch, or whatever. You say you don't like me, you say you won't fight with what me and my nigga like. My nigga like, them niggas snitching and they act like bitches. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They killing women and they fuck with sisters. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Come under command and general YAHANNA. We unaffiliated with them. Like they tongue and they say they keep that shit 100. We unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Yeah. See, they always ask us like, why y'all fuck with such and such? Why y'all won't come together with such and such? Seen heaven turn to hell, I gotta stay alive. Lord have mercy on my soul, stand by my side. I killed an old man and I watched him die. Lost a couple niggas, guess he wasn't my round. They play my niggas, lay you down, they all down to ride. Keep my gun in my arm, I gotta stay alive. I gotta stay alive. Keep my gun in my arm, I gotta stay alive. Tell me we don't live in hell. My brother doing 55 in that cell. Nigga claiming he your round, he'll spin shell. Same nigga you put on to hit the stand and tell. How the fuck you turn your back on a nigga that love you? Treat your kids like my kids, treat you like a brother. I told my dog, let's leave the streets to serve the most high. He said, fuck that shit, he trying to sell another pie. His daddy killed him, put him in the trunk, set him on fire. His wife was pregnant, he ain't never get to see his child. Had me thinking to myself, what happened if I die? Look my babies in the eyes, I gotta stay alive. I put my ego on the shelf and my pride to the side. I'm with some niggas who gon' step and got God on their side. Got in the ISUPK, they keep asking me why. As I do the work of the Lord, I gotta stay alive. Face the east, pray aloud. I seen heaven turn to hell, I gotta stay alive. Lord have mercy on my soul, stand by my side. I killed the old man and I watched him die. Lost a couple niggas, guess he wasn't my round. They play my niggas, lay you down, they all down the ride. Keep my gun in my arm, I gotta stay alive. I gotta stay alive. Keep my gun in my arm, I gotta stay alive.
You ever pump a pack with a snake by your side?
Yes, I
See
did.
the man reach out to God before he died?
Yes, I did.
I know the Lord forgive us for these sins, but I'm starting to think the kingdom of heaven is for these kids. I told my daughter, there's one man in your bed, I won't stand for less. For my son, I hit your head on that fragile leg. I lost some niggas to that dope, I lost niggas to the feds. Remember Jono tried to stick me for that cheese on that bread, yeah, I was thuggin' with Lucky and that nigga left me for dead. Endure to the end, cause I listened to what was said. Mother told me she loved me when she was sick up in the bed. I was running them streets, but the truth made me a man. Shit, I don't really speak, cause she'll never understand. That's why I ain't even tell her about these voices in my head. I'm still trying to manage my anger like Uncle Craig.
I seen heaven turn to hell, I gotta stay alive. Lord have mercy on my soul, stand by my side. I killed the old man and I watched him die. Lost a couple niggas, guess he wasn't my round. They play my niggas, lay you down, they all down the ride. Keep my gun in my arm, I gotta stay alive. I gotta stay alive. Keep my gun in my arm, I gotta stay alive.
Yeah, on 44 shit, you know what I mean? Busy man.
Yeah, those are messed up, no. Bad news is to beat your home, nigga. Yeah. Go on, get on that ass real quick one time. 144, baby.
They said you get on, you gon' represent, I said of course. Soon as they crank that beat, I ride that bitch just like a horse. She about to go dumb, yeah, bitch me whole car. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan, I come with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course, get it lit up like a torch. You even low on this law, so that bitch is either or. Yeah, I know them niggas ain't cut like that, I swear I'm to our core. Wait up, let me make a call right quick, I'ma start another war.
Shalom, Israel. With ISUPK coming out of 1 West Harlem, New York, 125th Street, under Commander General YAHANNA. This is 1969. We've been bringing out the truth that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the true children of the Bible. Your priest and officer, Yahshala, hold it down this Monday, Elizabeth / history class for priest and officer 500 Adunya. Shout out to young man Hector in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Shalom Yahbashem Yahweh Barakatah to the Akim, and Shalom Yahweh Shema Alathem Bashem Yahweh to the Akwathia. And a shout out to my sister in the school down there in North Carolina. You know what I mean? Prayers with my sister. You know what I mean? She's having a hard time going through something today, you know what I'm saying? I pray she stays strong and make it through, you know. Sometimes, you know, as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we go through hard times. We go through hardships. We have, you know, rough patches. You know what I'm saying? But this is why we have a very strong support group here in the ISUPK under Commander General YAHANNA. This is why we have a very large family, you know, of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. It's the biggest family I've ever been in, ever seen. They actually get along. You understand? I get along more with my family in the truth than I do with my family in the world. And that's a fact. So, you know, shout out to y'all in the chat. Shout out to everybody that's viewing. And let's get into some history, you know. Today, you know, we actually are in the peak. We're in the precipice. We're at the precipice of World War III. You know, as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we are on the brink of war. And this is about as close as it's going to get without it spilling over into every country in the world. You understand? You know, it would just be isolated incidents between neighboring countries, or, you know, as we say, white people problems are heathen problems, you know. But of course, you know, the United States, they got to stick their nose in everybody's business, try to be big brother, big dog, and Devo all at the same damn time. You know what I'm saying? Slot. It's so chilly here. But yeah, you know, it's like we're right on the brink of war. And what we're doing is you know, Commander General YAHANNA is letting his people know, you know, stay steadfast and don't succumb to what the other people want us to do. You understand? They want us to serve them. They want us to put our life on the line to serve them so they can stay alive and continue to control the masses. This is what they do. This is how they move. This is how they operate. You understand? But this is why ISUPK and the Commander General YAHANNA, this is why we're in place to do the things that we're ordained to do. You understand? And that's why it's prevalent that we study our history and we know where we came from so we can know where we're going. Because if you don't know your history, how you going to know your path in life? How you going? What, you just going to be a leaf in the wind, a leaf blowing in the wind, and just go have it the way life flows? No, it don't work like that. You understand? Study your history. Study your ancestry. This Holy Bible, holy meaning separate, is your ancestry. You understand? This is our history records. This is our culture, not religion, culture. You know, Christianity is a religion. But this right here is a culture, and it's our culture, and this belongs to us and nobody else. And this is why they get upset about it. You understand? But we go to the book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 4, it says, whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning. These laws, statutes, and commandments was written aforetime for us to learn and for us to study and for us to do and to live, incorporate in our everyday life and breathe it, you know, like we breathe air. And it's for us to pass down to our generations, to our wives and children, and so on and so forth. And it says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. By keeping these scriptures alive through our generations, we have hope. By waking up the dead, by being fishers of men and raising up young priests to become adult priests, you know, to live and to keep these law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God going and to keep it alive. Again, we must know our heritage. We must know our inheritance. We must know our covenant. We must know our history. We have to know where we came from. We have to know who we are. You understand, Israel? And this is why history class is very important. And this is why I bring out a series of clips and reels and videos that show proof that back in the day, we were here. We thrived. You understand? There was times in life where America was great for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians because there were times where we ran it. You understand? In little towns here and there, little cities here and there, we ran it. And we didn't rely on the oppressor. We didn't rely on the government. We were our own government. We had our own hospitals. We had our own law enforcement. We had our own stores. We had our own bank. You understand? Like, we are the salt of the earth. We're the ones that bring the flavor to this planet. This planet was made for us and made for us to flourish. And in this first video is a small example of what I'm talking about right now. Let's see.
Homes, schools, and businesses, then watched it all burn. Rosewood, Florida was a thriving black town in the early 1900s. Families owned land, built generational wealth, lived in peace until January the 1923. A white woman falsely claimed a black man attacked her. The lie spread like fire. Literally, a white mob stormed Rosewood, burning homes to the ground, killing indiscriminately. Survivors hid in swamps. Entire families disappeared. The town was erased, vanished from maps and memories for decades. But the legacy still echoes. Rosewood was more than tragedy. It was proof of black excellence and what happens when it's seen as a threat. In 1994, Florida finally paid restitution, but no amount can rebuild what was stolen. If history can erase an entire town, what else haven't we been told? They built homes, schools,
And what they bringing out is very correct. Like, how can we know about our history if they're erasing it time and time again? How can we know about our heritage and where our ancestors came from? You never know. That could have been a family member of yours that lived in Rosewood. You understand? It could have been a family member of yours. But you know what happens? We don't follow the laws of the Most High God, and we don't have nobody in the world to lead us and guide us. You understand? We don't have proper leadership. And that's a large problem that we suffer from. We don't have proper leadership. If we go to the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2, verse 24, it says, "And the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient." A servant of God is a listener, someone that takes instructions, someone that follows instructions. You understand? Someone that is apt to teach, meaning he's able to teach because he studies and he listens and he follows direction and he follows order and takes correction when it's needed. At times, Israel, as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, because of how we were raised and how we were brought up, even though it was all wrong, it's difficult for us to be deprogrammed and reprogrammed. And this is the fight that a lot of brothers in the school and also Commander General YAHANNA tell us that we must stay diligent and stay steadfast on, because the greatest fight isn't to quit smoking weed. The greatest fight is not to quit smoking cigarettes. The greatest fight is not to stop sleeping with whores or watching porn or whatever your vice is as far as sinning or eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. The greatest fight coming into this truth and becoming a child of the Lord is you. You are your greatest enemy. You are your greatest op. You are your own opposition. Do you understand what I'm saying, Israel? You are your own opposition, because you won't get nothing done if you won't let you do it. You won't get up and go about your day if you keep yourself locked down. You get up and be stretching. Like, it's time to get my day started. But then something in your mind tells you, lay your ass back down. You tired. Go lay down. You know what that is? That's a demon. See, demons are attached to us because we were such wicked and filthy sinners in the world. So coming into the truth, we learn how to acknowledge them. You understand? And all this ties into history because we have a history of sin. We have a history of being wicked. We have a history of letting our demons kick our behinds. And then we so is bold to let other demons latch on to us and our demons latch on to other people, because there is a such thing as transference of demons. That's where you end up picking up new habits. You didn't smoke cigarettes before, now you smoke cigarettes. You understand? You might have seen your family go through the drug addiction, and you still end up getting drunk, hanging out with some friends, and they got some white friends, and now y'all hanging out. And next minute, now you at the kitchen counter doing a line of coke. I know because I've seen it happen to people in the world. I don't partake in that. I watched too many of my family members get destroyed off of that. I lost, you know what I'm saying? I lost my uncle, one of my younger uncles to that. I was just that well disciplined that I refused to indulge in certain things. I know what's for me and I knew what wasn't for me. And I know none of that stuff is for me now. You understand, Israel? It's a learning process with growing under the law, statutes, and commandments. You don't come out and be perfect. You have to grow into perfection. It's like a child when you're in your embryo stage, and then you become born into the world. You understand? Same thing with this truth. Even though you'll be a full-fledged teenager or a young adult or an adult. You understand? Once you come into the truth, you become a trooper. You start out as a young man, you become a trooper, and you eventually grow in this truth. You know what I'm saying? Then you go from a trooper to a priest and officer of 50, and so on and so forth. And as you grow, your knowledge grows, your wisdom grows, your salt becomes more flavorful, more seasoned. You understand? You become a lot more seasoned the more rooted you get into this truth. And the more you dig into these scriptures and the more you dive into it, the more you learn. Just like this history. The more you dive into this history and the more you learn about this history, the more you'll learn that the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we have to come out of her. Like I say in the scriptures, we have to come out of the ideologies of the white man. We have to come out of the ideologies of America. You got to remember, we're still under the constitutional law on this land, which considers us 3/5 of a human. We not even a whole nigga out here. So who are we to sit there and try to demand rights from the oppressor? This is why they look at us like idiots. Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and all talk about we're going to march. We're going to march for peace. We're going to march for equality. We're going to march for... All that marching has never done a damn thing. You know what they say when they see us marching in the street? Look at these whining ass niggas. Thinking they going to get something done by crowding up our streets. You know what? Call the police on them. Get the dogs. Get the hoses. That's how they look at us. That's what they think about us. And that's how they treat us. So what makes you think we're going to get treated any better now, 50, 60, 70, 100 years later, when we're out here unaliving each other, harming and destroying one another because we don't know our identity. We don't know who the hell we are, let alone know where we came from. As far as you know, you went as far back as your grandmama from Virginia. You know, like, for example, my grandmama from Virginia. My grandfather is from South Carolina. All right, now how about before that? Where their parents is from? And before that, where their parents is from? You understand what I'm saying, Israel? We have to learn to do some background checks on ourselves and our people. We have to learn to go back. We got to go back before our grandparents. We got to go back before their parents. We have to start going as far back as when our people was in Israel. Where was our spirits among the northern and southern tribes? You understand? Because we all been here before. The spirit ain't new. The body is. And again, we still struggling to get it right because we're still tearing up this flesh and we're mistreating it. And we're wrong for it. But again, it's due to lack of knowledge. Because in the book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6, it says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. For we reject the knowledge. For we reject the knowledge, the Most High God rejects thee." And as long as we reject the Most High God, He's going to reject us. So what do you expect? You understand, Israel? Like, what do you expect? You got to give a little to get a little. Give a little praise. You want a little mercy, give praise. You understand? You want the Lord's love, fear Him. Fear him enough you're not going to smoke or get high or fornicate. Fear him enough you're not going to eat pork, shrimp, crab, lobster. Fear him enough where you're going to learn how to not just love yourself, but love your brother as Christ loved us all. You understand, Israel? Because I pray I do. If we go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 23, starting at verse 1, it says, woe. Now, before I go any further, we're going to taste this word, woe. Woe means swift death and destruction under the Most High God. So woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord. This is the Lord saying this. This ain't a Yahshua. You understand? This is the Most High talking. This is the Lord talking. He said, woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture. Meaning, swift death and destruction to you, Christian church. Swift death and destruction to you, Muslim mosques. Swift death and destruction to you, synagogues of Satan. Swift death and destruction to you, Jakes in the world that don't want to listen to the law, statutes, the commandments of God. I'm talking about those black Hispanics and Native Indians that sit there and talk about praise God and praise this and praise that and pass the collection plate and all of that garbage. You know, they do that because they don't know their history neither. Maybe one day somebody will help get them into this class. You never know. It might be you one day, young man Hector. You might be the one to turn these Christian pastors around. You might be the one to wake them up in your town. You understand? And raise the dead. You might be able to bring 3 or 4 more brothers and maybe 2 sisters into the school. This is why I appreciate you staying diligent and consistent in these classes, because we're all rooting for you over here in Jersey, young man Hector. Trust me when I tell you, we're rooting for you, and we want you to get your name, and we want you here. The Lord called you for a reason, and you're answering, and we appreciate your zeal. You know what I'm saying? It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 23, verse 2. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, against the pastors that feed my people. Meaning the Lord is saying his children of Israel as being fed by these pastors, being fed false doctrine and idolatries to his people by these false prophets. Ye have scattered my flock, meaning you've divided my people. Now you got some of them claiming Islam, wearing dresses. You got some of them sitting there talking about they Christians. Some of them going to Scientology. How Drake, a whole Israelite, was sitting there talking about he Jewish. That's how lost that Negro is. He don't even know he's a real Jew. His father's black. So he a nigga. But, however, he don't know no better. So he thinking he something else. Oh, because he light skinned. You know what I'm saying? One day I pray Drake will wake up. Maybe he might catch a class like Kanye did. I still pray for Kanye. There's hope for him. There's hope for Drake. There's hope for these brothers in the industry. They just gotta wake the hell up and come back to the flock. It's just that simple, Israel. We as blacks, Hispanics, and Indians need to get back to the Lord God, and we need to get back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, and we need to learn to get back to us as a people. Let me read verse 2 again from the top. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 23, verse 2. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, against the pastors that feed my people. Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing, saith the Lord. Meaning, you scattered my people and sent them wayward. You don't check up on them. You don't do nothing. So for that, I'm going to come see you with the evils of your doings. You're going to see your error of your ways. I'm going to make sure of that. I'm just translating what the Most High said to, as far as these pastors are concerned. Verse 3, and I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries whither I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. Meaning, I'm gonna gather all my people that you scattered. I'm gonna get them right. I'm gonna get them back up right, and I'm gonna get them taken care of and increased in everything. Once I get them back situated and acclimated back into my doctrine. I got something for y'all though. That's how the Most High coming. He not playing. And when we get in that position, when that time comes, we not playing. We ain't playing with people neither. We not playing. This is for real. This is real life. This ain't no for play. This ain't no game. I take these law, statutes, and commandments with my life on it. You understand? Verse 4. And I will set up shepherds over them which shall feed them. Meaning, when we come into Jacob's kingdom, the Lord's kingdom, when Esau's kingdom falls, because Babylon is currently falling, when we come into that kingdom, the Most High is going to have shepherds over us. You understand? The 144 that's going to govern Israel, and there's going to be shepherds over us to make sure we eat, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed. Neither shall they be lacking, saith the Lord. Meaning, we're going to be taken care of. We're going to be in a good place, and we're going to make sure that we're doing our part, putting our bricks in for the Lord God, because he's the one that deserves the praise. He's the one that deserves the credit. You understand? We just have to stay strong and believe in him and continue to do his work. You understand? I pray y'all do. I'm about to go into this next video or two to show how great my people is, and to show how they try to lose us in history.
Citizens. One of us held a U.S. patent. His name was Thomas L. Jennings, and they never taught you about him. In 1821, Jennings invented a method called dry scouring, a revolutionary early form of dry cleaning. He was a tailor in New York, but he wasn't just sewing clothes. He was stitching together freedom. At the time, black people, enslaved or free, couldn't legally own inventions. But Jennings was free and brilliant and unstoppable. He became the first black person in U.S. history to receive a patent. And what did he do with the money? He didn't build a mansion. He funded the abolitionist movement. He bankrolled legal challenges. He helped black people escape bondage. He turned his patent into protest. While white inventors were building wealth, he was building freedom. But you won't find his name in textbooks next to Edison or Bell, because they feared what he represented, that a black man could outthink the system and still survive it. That broke me. He took their laws, mastered their system, and used it against them. So why is it that we still know the name of every white inventor, but not the first black one? Follow if this is the legacy they hoped you'd never find. Drop Jennings in the comments if this is the first time you've heard his name. And if you're ready for the truth behind the real McCoy, we're producing that now.
She stood 6'3", could rebound like a machine, could drop 47 points in a single game, and yet you've probably never heard her name. Lucia Harris was born in Mississippi, a black girl with giant hands and a hunger to win. No scholarships, no endorsements, just raw talent and no blueprint for what she was about to become. She led Delta State to 3 national championships in a row. She scored the first basket in the history of women's Olympic basketball, bringing home a silver medal for the U.S. in 1976. She dominated on a level the game had never seen. Then came the twist. In 1977, the New Orleans Jazz selected Lucia Harris in the NBA draft. Yes, the NBA. She is the only woman in history officially drafted by a team. But there was no press tour, no training camp, no shot. She turned it down partly because it felt like a publicity stunt, and partly because she knew the truth. The league didn't want her to succeed. It wanted her to disappear, and that's exactly what happened. While men who never won as much were handed coaching jobs, commentator gigs, and a place in history, Lucia went home, raised children, worked quietly, struggled with mental health, and waited decades for the world to remember what it forgot. Fun fact, Lucia Harris was finally honored in 2021 with an Oscar-winning documentary about her life. She passed away just months later at 66 years old. If this is the first time you've heard her name, type "She was first." Follow and stay tuned because the next name they buried is coming.
but 4 genius cousins erased from history. First, there was Nikola. What if Nikola Tesla wasn't just one man, but 4 genius cousins erased from history? First, there was Nikola Tesla, the culinary pioneer who fried chicken with lightning before Colonel Sanders even had a name. Then you got Nikola Tesla, who invented wireless bass in 1893, before the West Coast even had a sound. Next up, Nigel Tesla, the British cousin. Polite, deadly, and sipping tea charged with 10,000 volts. And finally, the one they really don't talk about, Nicholas Tesla, the Mexican cousin who powered the entire family BBQ with a car battery, lit up the dance floor, and made a lowrider float using a modified alternator and 2 tamales. They said there was only one Tesla, but they were wrong. This is the Tesla multiverse, and they weren't ready for it.
But eyewitnesses during that time described him with, they told you Beethoven was a white man. But eyewitnesses during that time described him with a blackish-brown complexion, a broad nose, and coarse hair. His peers called him the Moor. He composed 9 symphonies that changed the course of music forever. He wrote masterpieces while going deaf. His 5th symphony, his 9th, Ode to Joy, are still performed around the world. He broke the rules of classical music and redefined human emotion and sound. Yet his image was altered, and portraits of him were whitened, idealized, and stripped of the truth. Why? Because white historians and artists couldn't accept that the world's greatest composer was a black man. It did not fit their image of what they considered genius. Over 100 historical figures have been whitewashed, from Queen Charlotte to St. Augustine, even the man whom they call Jesus, whose real name is Yahusha. It's not just about Beethoven. It's about a system built to erase black brilliance, to protect the myth of white supremacy and control the legacy of human achievement. But the truth always finds a way back.
In the summer of 1917, East St. Louis became a war zone. White mobs, fueled by fear, hate, and economic competition, unleashed terror on black families migrating north for work. Why? Because black workers were hired to replace striking white union members at local factories. Jealousy turned deadly. What followed was pure horror. Homes were set ablaze. Men, women, even children were shot, lynched, and burned alive. Entire neighborhoods reduced to ashes. Black residents were chased down like prey in broad daylight. Eyewitnesses spoke of bodies littering the streets. Police did nothing. In some cases, they joined in. The official death toll? 39. But survivors said the real number was in the hundreds. This wasn't a riot. It was a massacre, a calculated attempt to crush black. They told you the Alamo was about freedom. But freedom for who? In 1829, Mexico abolished slavery, long before the U.S. ever did. But American settlers in Texas? They came from the South. They brought slaves. And they weren't giving them up without a fight. Mexico said, no more slavery, no more illegal immigration. The settlers said, we want our land, we want our slaves. And when Mexico pushed back, they sparked a revolution. The Alamo wasn't just about independence. It was a stand to protect the system of slavery, to hold on to stolen labor and expand that system westward. So when they call those men heroes, ask yourself, what exactly were they heroes of? It wasn't liberty for all. It was liberty to oppress. And that's the truth they never taught you. In 1870, history was made. Hiram Rhodes Revels walked into the United States Senate as the first black senator in American history. A free man from North Carolina, a minister, and an educator, Revels didn't just break barriers, he shattered them. While others tried to block him, he stood firm. He spoke for the voiceless. He proved that black excellence could no longer be ignored. From preaching in churches to speaking in the halls of Congress. Hiram Revels wasn't just a senator. He was a symbol of hope in a nation struggling to heal. Remember his name? Hiram Rhodes Revels, the first black U.S. senator.
Israel, we have a rich history of greatness, and this is stuff that they don't teach us. This is stuff that they don't want us to know. This is stuff that they choose to try to get us to forget because they want to keep us dumbed down. They want to keep us asleep. They want to keep us in the matrix. Why you think they legalized marijuana? They was seizing so many millions around the globe, around the U.S. You understand? Mind you, it's still illegal on the federal level. They only legalized it statewide. But look at what happened when they legalized it. Everybody and their mama smoking. We literally have 4 new dispensaries in Jersey City that opened up. So now we got, and I'm not exaggerating, we got like 12 dispensaries, and we have about 30 smoke shops now in Jersey City, just Jersey City alone. I ain't talking about Bayonne, that got a couple of smoke shops but no dispensaries. I ain't talking about Hoboken, that got maybe 1 smoke shop, no dispensaries. I'm talking about Jersey City. Jersey City got smoke shops, dispensaries galore. You understand? All in the trenches, all in the hood. Not even up there in Jersey City Heights or Union City like that. They got little smoke shops here and there. But while the dispensaries is dead smack in Jersey City. Think about this. They want to keep us in the matrix. They want to keep us hot. They want to keep us lost. They want to keep us dumb. They want to keep us unawake. They don't want us to know our God. Think about it. How do they know our Bible better than we do? How the hell they know our identity better than we do? How you think them small hats could sit there and take our identity and take it on for themselves? How they know our history better than we do? And they do it to control Israel. They do it to control you. As a people, when the hell are we going to wake up and realize that we're being puppets? You know, in the movie The Matrix, right? The very first Matrix movie, something profound was brought into the light. If you caught it, you caught it. If you didn't, I pray you go back and catch it. You know, when Neo was being unplugged, so to speak, right? And Morpheus told him the truth. He didn't know how to respond to it. What do you think is happening to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians when the ISUPK and the Commander General YAHANNA is bringing the truth out to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians out here? That was raised on monogamy. That was raised on Christianity. That was raised on Islam. That was raised on sin. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to push us away. They're going to give great resistance until they see that you can resist all you want, but you're going to get this work. You're going to get it because this is for you. I'm not bringing this to these other heathens. This is for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And I'm going to keep being patient with your ignorant ass because I love you. And the love is to correct you. Stop smoking that weed. Stop smoking them cigarettes in the mouths. Put the goddamn vapes away. That's showing love by correcting you. Stop smoking. Period. Stop eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. Stop being whores. Stop being whoremongers. I speak to the brothers and the sisters. I exclude nobody. I'm talking to Israel. I'm talking to my people. I'm talking to y'all. When are y'all going to wake up and get it? When? When it's too late? When that sky crack open, y'all going to fall to your knees and be like, oh, Lord, I was with you. I was praying. I told him I loved you. He ain't going to hear you. Off with your head. Now you're done. For saying you love God and hate your brother, you a goddamn liar. It's in the scriptures. This ain't nothing new under the sun. You can't sit there and fool the Lord. You can't finesse the Lord. Who the hell you think you is? Think you can finesse the Lord that created everything and created your dumb ass? What makes you think you can finesse God? You can't even finesse the niggas around the corner. Let's be realistic here. But pertaining to these videos, right? Our people is great. And if we know who we are and where we came from, we can also acknowledge how great we are as a people. I pray y'all get it, Israel. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 78, starting at verse 3. Which we have heard and known, and our fathers have told us. See, these law, statutes, and commandments is something that we've known because our fathers have told us about them. They taught us about them. And this is something that we're supposed to pass down to generations. Teach your sons and daughters, teach your wife, teach your wives, teach all your ribs so they could bring that on down to the children. And when the boys get big enough, that's when you take them under the wing the rest of the way and make men of them and make fishes of men of them. You understand? Girls is to be raised to be young princesses under their mom. Young priests and warriors is raised to be adult priests and warriors under the father. That's the structure and order of things, Israel. Verse 4, we will not hide them from their children, showing to the generations to come the praises of the Lord, meaning we're not going to hide this truth. We're going to show this truth. We're going to present this truth, and we're going to broadcast the word to the generations. We're going to spread this word. This is why we be on them street corners in the slums and barrios having camp, prophesying to the wind. You understand? Reaching out to our people. You know, them purple people leaders think it's a competition or something, and they try to post up across the street from us and turn these speakers up loud. No, we are in the middle of something. Why y'all obstructing the word? Y'all trying to prohibit us from teaching and spreading the word. Y'all go ahead and throw y'all parties and do y'all diddy stuff like y'all do in y'all congregation. You know what I'm saying? And have people sign NDAs. And y'all do weird, obscene things to these sisters. And then they end up coming forward and being interviewed by Commander General YAHANNA. You know what I'm saying? Y'all keep being weirdos. Y'all keep doing what y'all do. But us over here in the ISUPK under Commander General YAHANNA, we're doing the right thing. We're doing the righteous thing. We're bringing out the truth. You understand? We're bringing out these law, statutes, and commandments, and we're teaching, and we're learning too. This is history, y'all. Learn your history. This is Psalms chapter 78, verse 4, middle of the verse. In his strength and his wonderful works that he have done. You understand? We're not going to, it says, let me take it from the top. Verse 4, we will not hide them from their children, showing the generations to come the praises of the Lord and his strength and his wonderful works that he have done. We're going to make sure our generations learn all of this. We're going to make sure that they study and get all of this. They have to. That's the only way we can keep these holy convocations alive. This is the only way we can actually keep this truth going. We have to teach it to one another. We have to pass it on to our children. You understand? We have to pass it on to the grandbabies and so on and so forth. We have to make this a regular thing. Like how they want to normalize alternative lifestyle behavior, how they want to normalize alphabet community stuff and things of that nature. Then why can't we normalize these law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God? Why can't we normalize passing this stuff down to our generations, making sure our women and our children is getting this? And as they grow older and they have children, that they still continue to keep these same core values and keep these law, statutes, and commandments and pass them on to their children and so on and so forth. That's how we grow a nation. That is how we remain Israel. You understand? We're not going to start dying off like the oppressors doing. They're supposed to die off, or they're supposed to serve us. However, it makes me no never mind. This is verse 5, Book of Psalms, chapter 78, verse 5. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed the law in Israel. And when he's saying he established the testimony with Jacob, he established these law, statutes, and commandments with Jacob. You understand? And he appointed Israel. He appointed the laws in Israel. And another name for Jacob was Israel. So he was solely responsible for making sure that all his generations got these laws, statutes, and commandments. You understand? Whether if he has sons, daughters, so on and so forth. He is responsible to make sure that they get these laws, statutes, and commandments, and that they keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. You understand, Israel? Let me continue on. Which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children. See what I just said? It just further reiterated what I just brought out. By passing them on to the children is giving them structure, is giving them value, is giving them morale, is giving them a moral compass. You understand? So like, yeah. We as Israelites have to realize that this book is for us. You know why a lot of us in the world are so scared of this book? Because they, by acknowledging it, they have to accept it. And by accepting it, they have to find a way to change. As much as they're going to fight their flesh, as much as they're going to fight with their self, their spirit is not going to let their conscience do it. You know what I'm saying? The spirit is not going to let their conscience just be ignorant and wicked all of their days. At some point, that spirit is going to start talking to them like, look, all right, look, you've been destroying you for long enough now. It's time. You understand? And eventually you're going to wake up, because it's like, you know, once you're told the truth, you can't unhear it. You can't unsee it. I can't unsay it. It's already been said. It's already been put in the air. It's been put in the reality. It's been put into fruition. You understand? It goes with anything else in life. Once you manifest it, it comes full circle. And again, as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we have to take control and accountability of our life, and we have to take accountability and accept the truth that we are wicked, disgusting creatures that wanted to sin. So like, yeah. Shit. Hold on. What I do? There we go. All right, Slack. I was having a little issue. Hit a button by accident. Again, it's like we have to take accountability for the wicked ways that we had before we started following the Most High God, and we have to take accountability for the wickedness. And not only that, we have to fight. We just have to fight, Israel. We have to make sure that we don't fall. Now, the scriptures say a just man falls 7 times and get up 8. But the whole thing is to get up when you fall and to keep fighting, not to fall and roll around on the ground like, oh my God, I fell. Oh my God, I fell. I fell again. Stop getting comfortable with the goddamn ground. Get the hell up, dust yourself off, and keep pushing, keep fighting, stay strong. You understand, Israel? I got you, young man Hector. The book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up out of the land of Egypt, saying, verse 2, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. Now, this right here, this precept right here automatically cuts the Christian church. It automatically cuts the Christian church for the simple fact the Christian church sit there and try to say, oh, God is for everybody. God loves everybody. But here in verse 2, it says, you only have I known of all the families of the earth, meaning the Israelites, the children of Israel, is all I've known. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. All these other heathens and other nations keep wanting to take parts of something that don't belong to them, something that's not written for them, by them, or about them. They keep wanting to become a part of this. All right. If you want to really become a part of this, then take parts of all of it, not some of it. Don't take parts of all the blessings that the Most High puts upon us for following him. Take part in all the curses God gives us and punish us with for not following his law, statutes, and commandments. Take parts in these punishments and the punishments of our generations and generations and generations for our iniquities. You
Hey,
understand?
shalom, y'all. About Shemel Sharp.
Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Barakatah.
Hey, shalom, shalom, Lord of Christ. Hey, listen, you know what makes it so heavy about the scripture you're bringing out right now is exactly what you're saying and why it cuts the Christian church so deep. Because they are not held accountable for their sins. They don't want to be held accountable for their sins. That's why that scripture, when they talk about the law, when they try and say the law is done away with, that Christ fulfilled the law already, so they don't have to fulfill the law. That's to help them keep sinning. They don't want to read this scripture and then have to read the scripture that I have not come to do away with the law, but to fulfill the law. Because then they have to realize that they too have to fulfill the law. And this is what makes the oppressor so wicked, because the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of, and it makes him very wicked because he thinks that he can do what he want to do and not be held accountable. If you read that scripture again, Baba Kashar, if I may, let me just get that scripture right, that same scripture you're reading. Read it from the top.
You want me to start back from verse 1?
Where you at right now?
Book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 2.
Go to verse 1.
This one.
Go to verse 1.
Con. The book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel.
Wait, slow down, Yash. For what it says is, it says, hear this word that's spoken against you, right? Right then and there, this is how you know that this is for Israel. And this is how you know the Christian church. You can cut the Christian church with a lie right from here, because they say the scriptures in the Bible is for everybody. However, right here in verse 1, you cut the Christian church automatically. Because in this kills old New Testament Christians and Old Testament Christians, because if they say, "Oh, we only believe in the Old Testament," well, the Old Testament is talking to Israel, which is the Old Testament, right? Israel got named in the Old Testament. So
Right.
if you in the New Testament talking about Israel, that cuts your Old Testament Christian. But then it cuts your New Testament Christian because it's talking about Israel in the New Testament, which refers to the Old Testament. So that's a double cut. But then it cuts all those so-called Christians that's not of the children of Israel, that say they want to be, part of, that they claim to be God loves everybody in, because this specifically says, hear this, read it again.
Come. Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel.
It's specifically speaking to the children of Israel in the New Testament. Here's this word that's spoken against you. Now, this means that this is something that's against all 12 tribes of Israel. Read.
Come. Against the whole family, which I
against
brought.
What? Wait, slow down. Against what?
Against the whole family.
That's when, and see, it said, when it says there, it's letting you know that every last one of you, children of Israel, that means all 12 tribes, northern and southern kingdom, against the whole family. Keep going. That means father, mother, daughter, father, mother, son. That's the children, all the children of Israel. Keep going, Salakia.
Come. Which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying.
Now, this also cuts the Christian church, and it shows that it's not for the Bible is not for everybody. Which I brought up from Egypt. Who did he bring from Egypt? Moabites was in Egypt. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It says, which I brought up from Egypt. The Caucasians wasn't, or who we know, who the Bible says as Edomite, and who we know in today's time as white people, the Caucasian, the Caucasoids, they wasn't in Egypt. The Hamites did not come out of Egypt with us because the Hamites ruled Egypt. We were
Right.
Hamites ruled Egypt, so that takes out your Africans, your Hamites, right? It takes out your Chinese, your Japanese. It takes out your Arabs because they didn't come out of Egypt with us. Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel came up out of Egypt. And this cuts the Christian church because they wasn't in Egypt. They didn't come up out of Egypt. The Lord didn't bring them out of Egypt. That's why the scripture says, hear this word against you, all Israel, the whole family, meaning the all 12 tribes, the ones who I brought up out of Egypt. That's who I'm talking to. You who I brought up out of Egypt. Keep reading.
Khan. You only have I known.
And specifically, this when it speaks, I'm only talking to you. You know that saying how when people be like, who you talking to? You. I'm talking to you. And the scriptures is specifically, it tell you who they're talking to, who's the Bible, who's referring to, who it is talking about. You only have I known. Only Israel, the Lord said, has he known. Keep going.
Of all the families of the earth.
Of what?
Of all the families of the earth.
Nah, some of the families.
Of all the families of the earth.
Out of the entire earth, of all the families of the earth, I've only known Israel, the ones who I brought up out of the Egypt. Keep going.
Therefore, I will punish you for all.
I will what?
Therefore, I will punish you
for
all your iniquities.
I will punish you for all your iniquities. Iniquities are sin. It's the transgression of the law. So if he says, I've only known you, then that means he only gave the law to Israel, blacks,
Right.
Hispanics, and Native Indians. And only blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians can be charged with breaking the law of God because the law was only given to the children of the Most High God. So
right.
Here, I'm gonna make it simple for everybody. If I put my son on punishment, or I chastise my son, or I give my son a set of rules, those rules run for my son in my household. Now, let's just say for class teaching, for teaching purposes, let's just say I got 12 sons. If I got 12 sons, right? Let's say 12 wives, just for teaching purposes. I got 12 sons and 12 wives. If I say all of my sons from me, all of my children they're going to be punished, guess what? That's only going to be for my 12 sons. Now, let's just say so we can, for teaching purposes, I got my 12 sons by 12 different mothers, right? But then there's other people in the earth and they have children, right? If my law that I give my 12 sons only implies or only is for my 12 sons, guess what? The same is the law of God. The law of God are only for the 12 tribes of Israel. They're not for everybody else. They're not for everybody. So when he says, I shall punish you, he's talking to the 12 tribes of Israel. How can you prove that? Look around and let's not be, dumbfounded or ignorant or please, stupid about the fact of what the matter is. If you look in the earth, who are the children that's suffering? Who are the children that's being punished and plagued? Who's being ran out of America by ISIS for no reason at all, for no just cause? There's no cause for them to do that. Who got enslaved? Who've been enslaved? Who lost 177 million of their people just getting this land taken from them? Who is in Puerto Rico? Who is in DR? Who is suffering Haiti? You can tell the children of Israel by their punishment. It's all through the Bible. The punishments are all through the Bible, that the things that we shall suffer. Africans does not suffer like blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. The so-called oppressor, the white man, does not suffer, nor have they known suffering like blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. The Africans, the Arabs, the Chinese, none of them know suffering or punishment. They don't understand punishment, the punishment that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians has endured due to their iniquities. Keep reading.
That was it on that. Young man had to give me another precept.
Most High Christ. You know, real quick, guys. See, the Christian church, they're a goddamn liar, and they want everybody to believe that this is a kumbaya, a stir in the mixing pot. Everybody can come together, but that's not what this is. The world, when the scriptures speak about the world, is speaking to Israel, right? And it's all based on content and what's being said and who it's referring to, and you can tell the difference. Just like here, it says in verse 1 and 2 is talking to Israel, but it lets you know it's specifically speaking to Israel because it says of all the families, meaning of all the earth. I don't know none of you. I don't know. I only know Israel. Those are my people. And all through the scriptures, it talks about Israel. How dare anybody else try and think that they are included? How dare anybody steal the identity of Israel and call them of specifically the tribe of Judah? How dare anybody steal the identity and the culture of God's children and claim it for themselves and bastardize it? The oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of, and they cannot have what the Most High God have given to Israel. Salakia,
Right.
shalom.
No, what you said is so heavy, sir. What you brought out in the beginning and what you just said now, I said back in the beginning of class when I started. And it's so heavy you brought it out. This shows that we're like-minded. We're on the same page. We're in one body, one mind, one spirit. You understand? That's what that means. Everybody's militantly on the same page. Not no, like how Christians try to say Jesus is God. No, he's not. God is not going to come in the flesh, get unalived, and come back to life when he created everything. That just don't make sense. But anywho, I put out some content on the school page yesterday, right? This oppressor was getting grabbed up by 3 cops, 2 male and 1 female cop in broad daylight. This is on camera. And he punched all 3 of them all up in their face and ran off in super slow motion, and they didn't even chase him. And I brought that out to say this. Had he been black, he would have got clips dumped in him, period. And this shows back to what you were saying, how the oppressor do what they want in today's society, in this kingdom, and they hold themselves not guilty. They don't take no accountability for any of the heinous, wicked, disgusting crimes that they commit, because this is for right now is their land. And they're under their rule. But that's okay, because Babylon is slowly falling and we're getting back to the Most High God. But the water for that breakdown, sir. Young man Hector, the water for this precept. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 147, verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. Now I'm going to break that down for you, because, again, Jacob's name was also named Israel because Jacob is the forefather and progenitor of the 12 tribes of Israel.
Right.
So it said, he showeth his word unto Jacob, meaning the Most High, like he gave Adam the law, he gave Jacob the law, statutes, and commandments. His statutes and his judgment unto Israel, meaning he gave the law, statutes, and commandments to Jacob in the 12 tribes of Israel, and also the judgments. So that way, if they didn't follow his law, statutes, and commandments, then they would fall under these judgments and face these curses. That's
Hey,
what
Salaki.
that basically means. Oh, good, sir. Salaki.
No, Salaki. I was gonna say the same thing you saying. You know how you can tell Israel is like what I just said and what you're saying right now, because if he gave the law to other people, then why aren't they being punished for the crimes that they commit? Like
Exactly.
you can tell who uh who are the children of Israel, because they're at the bottom of the totem pole. They're the people that's in the scriptures say, "Oh nation not desired." Who is not desired? Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. Who are the people that's treated the worst? Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. Who's being deported? Who's in concentration camps? Who's put in cages right now? Who's been called the byword? Who's been had a noose around their neck? Who's been hung for no reason? Whose children been used for alligator bait? Who's been used as test subjects in science labs and used as test subjects for science in its own? Who get their organs stolen from them because they're healthy? Who get unalive, taken off? Just the other day I was watching a video and they turned this young man's uh um his machine off, took him off because and his parents didn't, because they say he was an organ donor, and
I know
because
what
his
you're talking about.
organs,
Con.
exactly, because his organs match the organs. He was a match for some rich person. So what they do, they go in there and they take him off the respirators and everything. His parents never said that. His parents never told them to do that.
Right.
They unalived him unjustly. You understand what I'm saying? Who's murdered in the street, Salakia? Who's unalived in the street? Who is unalived in the street? Countless blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and there's no justice. No one coming to the aid. No one is coming for us. That's in the scriptures. Everything that I described and I spoke on was the curses that's been placed on all of Israel for their iniquities, for their sins of not following the laws, statutes, and commandments. Look
Con.
at blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians in their downwritten state that they're in. When it says we're blackened to the ground, it means we are downwritten. We are in a horrible place where the oppressor has his foot on our neck and is not letting up. And it's only because the Most High God allowed it to happen, because of our ignorance, because our display of ignorance and not being disciplined, not being obedient. It says we are lost, we are destroyed due to the lack of knowledge. And
Right.
blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are destroyed. Our own culture, we don't know it. Our own real history, we don't know it, because they lied. They have lied and told us, oh, it's not this, it's not that. You're this. You're black. You're African. You're African American. You're all these other things. But the children of Israel, they stole and hid our identity for years, just like they hid the identity of Christ. And that's why they put that picture of Caesar Borgia, so they can hide it, so they can try and hide it from the children of Israel, so the children of Israel would not wake up. But the Most High God had another plan. That's why in 1969, the spirit of the Most High God was put back in the earth. And by doing so, the children of Israel waking up and realizing and knowing who they are, and he put his spirit and he put great men before us, the priests and prophets of the Lord, to guide us back to righteousness, so we can follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. Salaki, I yield.
No, that's what shit. Get that powerful freak to him. And the funny thing is, you just reiterated everything I said in the beginning of the class. You just ran it all back. The only thing I ain't mentioned was the Caesar Borgia. What I said was how they, like, I broke down how we got 4 new dispensaries in Jersey City and how they focused on specifically Jersey City. We have over 12 dispensaries and over 30 new smoke shops, and they want to keep us. They want to keep us high. They want to keep us asleep. They want to keep us in that sunken place so they can control the masses. Like in the movie The Matrix, when Neo got unplugged and Morpheus told him the truth that we're being controlled to basically run like a battery. And that's what I had brought out earlier in class. So when you bringing that back out, it's heavy. This is verse 20, Book of Psalms, chapter 147, verse 20. He have not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. Meaning, again, what also Kashakawar brought out, and what the other precept that young man Hector brought out, the Most High God only knows Israel. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are all he's known. This is another precept that slice and dice Christians to sit there and say, "Oh, God loves everybody." No, the hell he don't. God is for everybody. No, the hell he not. Because if he is, then how come y'all not facing the repercussions of y'all iniquities? How come y'all not paying for the judgments? How come y'all not being cursed? How come your kids and your children's children not being cursed? Come on, stop it. Let's call a spade a spade.
Salakia Yash, why aren't they children being unalived in the street? Why their children don't have ops like blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians? Why their people not going to war with one another, with each other? And when I say that, I mean you do not see Caucasians going after Caucasians like how the gangs are and Bloods and Crips and Yetas and Latin Kings and Disciples and folks. You don't see that. You don't see that in their communities. They live in suburban houses. They live wealthy. You get what I'm saying? You don't see them, the gangs of Arabs going against other Arabs. Okay, you see them terrorizing one another, but you don't see them going through the racial profiling. You don't see them going through the things that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians go through. And it's sickening because you see our people and you know, it's a crime that they commit against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. But the scriptures say they will pay for their crimes. But who's gonna pay? Who's gonna get them for their crimes? It says the Most High God is gonna pay them for their crimes. That's why nothing has happened to them.
Right.
That's why it's nothing going. Listen, if you pay close attention, that's why nothing has happened to them. Through slavery, nothing happened to them. Do all the crimes that they commit today, nothing is happening to them. You know why? Because the Most High God said, "Vengeance is mine, thus saith the Lord." So the vengeance that's gonna come to them is gonna come from the Lord's hands. It's gonna come from the Lord's hands, and that's why He sent plagues. That's why He said in the book, in the Bible, He said it's gonna be plagues that's not written down in that book. That's why you get monkeypox. You know, that's why you get these other sexually transmitted disease that you can't get rid of. That's not down in that book because it's happening now. It's happening now. They can look around, they see it coming. They see it coming. They see it coming for what it is because the Most High God is sick of the things that they're doing to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian children. He's sick of it. And it's coming to a close. That's why it says in the other scriptures about our time is near. Is up. The time is up. Our punishment is up. Salakia.
Nah, and what you're saying is heavy. And just know that content about that kid getting taken off life support, that's on our school page. I put that out. And they didn't even apologize to the family. That's the head cracker. They didn't even apologize. They made an excuse. And like you brought out, they said,
they make no excuse. They argued and disrespected the mother.
Right, that part.
They argue. Listen, they argue and disrespected the mother, and that's the heinous crime. It's not that you just took this man off a life support, but then you tried to make his parents, and you tried to make it seem like both his mother and father was there,
and
you tried to make it seem like he wasn't a loved person, like he didn't have a family, and like he just was like he was roadkill, that he could just be rolled over, that it meant nothing. It meant nothing to them to take the life of another black man, another Hispanic man, another Native Indian man. And these heinous crimes that they commit against the Lord's chosen people, they shall pay. They shall pay. The time is coming. They're going to pay for their crimes. Salakia.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't he a nice big football star on the road to getting drafted and everything? Last I checked, he was a big football star like Travis Hunter, and he was on the pathway to getting drafted. Yeah, until he fell ill.
Yeah, listen, these people and listen, ain't no telling these bastards probably did it intentionally. You understand what I'm saying? Because you see so much happening right now in today's time. You see it all the time. A lot of this is intentional things that's happening.
Right.
The oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Salakia.
Nah, what you're saying is heavy, and I got more videos I got to get to for the class, but I got one I know you're going to speak on because I found something real disturbing for history class. Like, and this is more disturbing than that chair with all the spikes in it that I brought out before the other class. But real quick, did you know, I brought this out last week's history class, did you know that they didn't just unalive Nat Turner? They ain't just hang him. They ate him. They ate Nat Turner.
I know it.
Oh, all right. Yeah, and they made handbags and shoes out of him. The wicked bastards of the world, I tell you. But yeah, let me bring out this next video right quick.
This was an extremely cruel form of torture from the 18th century. The condemned person would be trapped in a specially designed boat-like contraption with only their head, hands, and feet exposed. They were then forced to drink large amounts of a mixture of milk and honey, which would cause severe diarrhea. Honey was also smeared on the victim's eyes, nose, mouth, and other exposed areas to attract flies, mosquitoes, and other insects. The contraption was then set adrift on a swamp or river. Before long, the honey would draw swarms of flies, mosquitoes, and other bugs. These insects would even breed on the victim's body. Meanwhile, the waste that accumulated inside the boat would foster bacterial growth in the heat, leading to serious infections throughout the victim's body. The condemned person would remain fully conscious throughout this ordeal, experiencing excruciating pain and suffering. This horrific process could drag on for days or even weeks until the victim finally succumbed to death.
Is Unwritten Truths, a 500-year breakdown of how white supremacy poisoned the world. In the 1500s, they arrived with Bibles and swords, preaching salvation while stealing souls. In the 1600s, they rewrote maps and labeled the world theirs. Everything sacred was renamed. Everything stolen was legal. In the 1700s, they mass-produced slavery, turning people into property, with God's approval. In the 1800s, they industrialized empires, burning land and bones to fuel profit. In the 1900s, they sold cigarettes as medicine, sprayed food with chemicals, and told us that fake was better. By 2000, they owned the air, the seeds, the truth itself. They replaced nutrients with logos. Now in 2025, they sell water, emotions, and even identity, and call it freedom. This isn't progress. It's 500 years of psychological warfare, and most of us are still enslaved. We just call it lifestyle now. This is Unwritten.
Hey, that last one of y'all.
My brothers and I are going to tell you about.
Pause that. That last one. That last one is heavy.
Man, I made sure I was gonna bring that one out.
Hey, I got that. I was using that for tomorrow's class. You beat me to it.
Yeah,
you beat me. You beat me to it.
Nah, because that right there was perfect for what I was bringing out in my history class. Because I wasn't just covering slavery time. I was also going to cover the last 30 years, 40 years. You get what I'm saying? So that was perfect. It fell right into what I was doing. But check this next series of videos out, and then we're going to break them down with some scriptures. I'm just playing them in clips because I still got like 5-6 more left for time's sake.
Of the true founder of Hennessy. Family, just know, it's not the white man's cognac.
It's the truth.
Richard Hennessy was 19 years old when he staggered onto the docks of La Rochelle with a hole in his leg and met Pierre Neptune. That freed slave was Pierre Neptune, much older than Hennessy, and he could see Hennessy was in a lot of pain. So Pierre slipped him a clay flask of palm rum, laced with cola and grains of paradise. The warmth lit Hennessy's eyes, and instantly he begged Pierre to share how it was made. So Pierre did just that. For months they rode the same barges up the Charente River. The whole time Hennessy took as many notes from Pierre as possible. Hennessy promised Mr. Neptune a partnership, and he wanted to bottle it, and had the skin color to borrow enough to make it happen. Weeks later, Richard Hennessy filed the trademark alone and stopped responding to Pierre's letters. Hennessy even filed complaints that an old black man was harassing him. He bottled Neptune's method, light char, fast age, ghost cola warmth, and stamped the label with a mailed fist. Today, the amber rolls across crystal glasses from Perry to Vegas.
Tonight, my brothers and I are going to tell you
about. Got this one, and then we're gonna bust down these scriptures before I get to the last few videos.
It was built to isolate. Rikers Island wasn't always a jail. In 1884, it was purchased by NYC for $180,000. The plan? A garbage dump. But then the city decided to build a prison on a remote island surrounded by toxic waste. Why? Because isolating people made them easier to forget. From the start, Rikers targeted black and brown New Yorkers, jailed for minor offenses, held without trial. To this day, 80% of inmates there haven't been convicted of anything. And the conditions inside Rikers, documented for decades: cells with no heat, no running water. One teenager was held in solitary for 2 years without a trial. Guards were worse than the inmates. The city knew. The city ignored it. Rikers isn't broken. It was built this way. Comment if it should be shut down and follow for more truth they don't want taught in school.
It's heavy. It's heavy with these Slacky. It's heavy that these oppressors is so wicked like that these damn oppressors is wicked like that. You understand, Israel?
In 2000,
it's sad. They make this stuff conditioned to break us. They make this stuff conditioned to torture us, to punish us. Like they're trying to, in a sense, force their way onto us to be our God. To show us, like, look, we can unalive you like this. We could do this to you. We could do that to you. Worship me. Follow me. Serve me. Do what I say. That's what they're trying to do. But it's not going to work. Again, there's nothing new under the sun. The Most High God has seen it all, done it all, created it all. If we go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 5, it says, "Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee." You understand? The Most High God knew Esau was going to be the most subtle beast of the field. The Lord knew Jacob was going to be a tent dweller and a valued asset to the land, and later become the progenitor of our people, basically. And he said, "Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sacrificed thee." Now, with this part, he's talking, and all the while he's referring to Christ. He's telling you, like, I knew Christ was going to be great. I knew my child was going to be great. You understand? Because I put my spirit upon that flesh. You understand? I put my spirit upon him. And this is why he said, "Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sacrificed thee." Meaning he already knew the path that Yahweh Mashiach who we call Christ, was set forth on. He knew he was going to spend his childhood studying and learning and mastering the law, statutes, and commandments, and then grow up to be a righteous young man and live the law and go out and teach us the law and teach us how to keep it. And he also says, I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. The Most High set Christ to be the prophet for the nations. You understand? He knew who he was going to create through the Spirit, before he formed in the belly. You understand? The Most High is all seeing, all knowing. There's nothing you can't do. Like I brought out in the beginning of the class, you know, when we in the world and we out here sinning and pleasing our flesh and stuff, I told you, the greatest enemy is not quitting smoking weed and cigarettes and black and miles and stuff. The biggest fight is not stop being a whoremonger or a whore or watching porn or whatever the case may be. That's not your greatest fight. The greatest fight is you. It's deeper than pleasing your flesh. It's deeper than that. It's a psychological war with yourself because you have to shed the old you and create the new, better you. And that's going to be the hardest fight because you have to accept the fact that everything you was ever taught was a lie and was wrong. You understand? And then you have to empty your cup and refill it with the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God and refill it with brotherhood. When you grew up in the world and didn't know what brotherhood really was. You understand? Because we watch us hurt one another. We watch us unalive one another. This is why it's important that we know our history. Didn't you just see that they made Rikers Island the way they made it, on a dump, to further destroy us, to torture us, and put us in poverty and captivity? You understand? You see what they did in the 16th century, 18th century, which you put you in a box with your limbs out and feed you and feed you and feed you and feed you, and you just defecate and urinate on yourself until it turns into bacteria and eats away your body. Like, that's a bad way to go. That is horrible. That is heinous. That is torture, Israel. That is not the way you want to go. We have to study these laws, statutes, and commandments, and we have to learn our history. We have to know who we are. You understand? If we go to the book of John, chapter 1, verse 1, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Meaning the law, statutes, and commandments came from the Most High because it's of the Most High. He gave us these law, statutes, and commandments and said, these are your do's and don'ts in life. And if you follow this, you will be perfect. You will be righteous. You will show proof that you are my child or you are my priest. And you will always have my love, my protection, and my mercy and my grace, as long as you keep these law, statutes, and commandments. You understand? That's why these words is yesterday, these words is of today, and these words will be of tomorrow. I pray y'all understand, Israel. Let me get to these next clips for time's sake.
2008, a mass grave was found in East Harlem, linked to NYPD. The city barely blinked. Construction workers digging under East 126th Street hit something solid. Bones, then coffins, then over 150 bodies, mostly black men and women, buried without records. Turns out the land was once home to the Harlem Almshouse and the 126th Street Reformatory. Back then, the NYPD and city hospitals used it to dispose of people deemed undesirable. No next of kin contacted, no burial records. When it was uncovered, the city quietly fenced it off. No official apology, no historical marker. They paved over it to build a new bus depot. Let that sink in. Over 150 human beings erased, then covered up with MTA money. Comment if they deserve more than concrete and follow for what else lies under your feet.
In the 1930s, answering a phone meant sprinting to catch it before it stopped ringing. Missed calls? Tough luck. No way to know who tried you. Enter Benjamin Thornton, a black inventor in Chicago, 1931, flipping the game. He's in his basement. wiring a box that does the impossible, records phone messages, and timestamps them. His gadget, U.S. patent 1,816,824, is voicemail's great-granddaddy. Businesses lose it. Imagine a doctor getting a patient's call at 2 a.m. Thornton, a radio nerd, outsmarted telecom big shots. But here's the sting. White inventors swooped in later, claiming the spotlight. His tech sparked texts, DMs, even your iPhone's voice memos. Why's his name dust? Drop Thornton in the comments if he deserves his shine. Follow for more hidden Black history. To learn about more stories similar, grab our free 5-story ebook and daily newsletter using the first link in the bio.
Sorry for launching it all, but they'll skip the black genius who made gaming what it is today. His name was Jerry Lawson. Nintendo built the gaming industry. They'll credit Atari for launching it all, but they'll skip the black genius who made gaming what it is today. His name was Jerry Lawson, and without him, there'd be no PlayStation, no Xbox, no switching games with a cartridge. Born in 1940s Brooklyn to a mother who pushed him towards science and a father who loved invention, Jerry was building radios by age 13, fixing TVs, teaching himself electronics before Silicon Valley even had a name. By the 1970s, he became one of the only black engineers in the Valley, leading at Fairchild Semiconductor, where he and his team created the first ever video game console with swappable cartridges. Before Lawson, games were trapped inside the machine. One console, one game, no freedom, no ownership. He changed that. His invention meant one console could hold a library of worlds. He pioneered modular design, saved game data, and helped spark the multi-billion-dollar gaming economy we live in now. But while companies cashed in on his blueprint, they erased the man who built it. No headlines, no tributes, no awards, just silence. The consoles in your living room carry his fingerprint. The industry built its empire off his mind, and yet they tried to code him out of the story. They told us tech wasn't our lane. They never told us we paved it. That broke me. Follow if Jerry Lawson's name deserves a permanent place in history. Drop genius if this is your first time hearing. They gave him the ball to fail. He turned it into history. In 1968, the Denver Broncos had an emergency. They were losing. Injuries stacked up, and out of desperation, not belief, they handed the ball to a rookie wide receiver named Marlon Briscoe, a black man, under center, in a position white coaches swore we weren't smart enough to play. What happened next? He balled out. Briscoe threw for nearly 1,600 yards, set a rookie record for touchdown passes, revived their season, changed what was possible. The fans loved him, his teammates backed him, and the scoreboard spoke for itself. But the system didn't care. The next year, the Broncos didn't even let him try out at quarterback. No competition, no consideration. He was traded, moved around the league, forced to change positions despite proving he could lead a team under pressure. They didn't just bench him, they erased him. Because a confident black quarterback in 1968 wasn't just a threat on the field, it was a threat to the order. And yet, without Marlon Briscoe, there is no Doug Williams, no Steve McNair, no Lamar, no Mahomes. He broke the barrier before the NFL was ready to admit it needed breaking, and they closed the door behind him. Fun fact, Briscoe went on to win 2 Super Bowls as a wide receiver with the Dolphins. But even then, his quarterback story was rarely told. They buried it like they buried him. If this is your first time hearing his name, type "he earned it." Follow and stay tuned, because what happened to Briscoe wasn't about talent, it was about control. I bet you never learned about the massacre that turned Atlanta's streets red. Stay. This one will make you question every race riot they called spontaneous. In 1906, Atlanta was booming, but while the city called itself the New South, old hate was bubbling underneath. White elites couldn't stand that black residents were rising, owning shops, papers, banks, and entire blocks on Auburn Avenue. Then came the spark. Local newspapers ran false stories of black men attacking white women. No proof, just headlines, the kind designed to spread fear and justify slaughter. What followed was 4 days of chaos. White mobs stormed through black neighborhoods. They pulled barbers from shops, lynched men off streetcars, burned homes to ash. Some police joined in, others stood down, but the city let it happen. Official death toll, 25. Real death toll, historians say hundreds. Names lost, graves never marked. And ask yourself, why did this happen right after Booker T. Washington praised black economic progress in Atlanta? What stays with me is how they rewrote the story. Called it a riot, as if the victims lit the match themselves. Fun fact, After the massacre, black communities built stronger aid networks, founded their own schools, and kept organizing, long before civil rights made headlines. If this is your first time hearing the truth, comment Atlanta Truth. Follow and share if this version of U.S. history feels closer to.
Now, this is just another example of our greatness as a people, Israel. But it also shows how the oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks of, and they try to erase us from history. They want to remove us from the history books. They don't want us to know that we was that great. They don't want us to know that we invented the telephone. They don't want us to know we invented the light bulb. They don't want us to know that we the one that the originator of classical music. Beethoven was a nigger. Period. No other way to put it. And that's just what it is, Israel. Know your history. Do your research. Do your homework. This is why I teach this class, because I did my research. I did my homework, and I bring it out so y'all can know it too. We need to know who we were and where we came from. If we go to the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 13, it says, ye are the salt of the earth, meaning we are the salt of this earth. We bring the flavor. You understand? Why you think in many neighborhoods, as well as my own, that they're doing regentrification? Now they want to clean up, so-called clean up the neighborhood after they flooded it with their drugs and their guns and got us unaliving one another and strung out on crack and dope. Now they want to regentrify, move us out after we done brought flavor and style and class to this place and move they corny, dry-ass people in here and move and migrate us elsewhere so we can become the salt of the earth again and bring flavor and regenerate the neighborhood and make it poppin' and make it hot again, just so they could do the same thing over. They just going to keep moving us and moving us and moving us and moving us around until the Most High God come down here with send his son and his angels down here to cleanse this earth of those wickedness. And then we won't have to hide no more. We won't have to run and move and migrate no more. You understand? Maybe we'll be allowed to go back home to our homeland after it's done been bombed to rubble, and we just rebuild. But this is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 13. It says, ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. Meaning, if we lose our flavor, then what good are we? If we sit there and try to be bland and unflavorful like the oppressor because we want to follow them and be under their foot and follow their ways and customs, then what are we good for? Like, if we lose our flavor, then wherewith shall it be salted? If we lose our flavor, then where the flavor going to come from? We are the salt of the earth. So if we lose our flavor, where the hell is the earth going to get its flavor from? Who? East Indians? Chinese? When they cooking rats and bats? Come on, Israel. Let's be realistic here. Like, I call a spade a spade. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Chapter 1, verse 4. Yo, man, heck to be on fire with these precepts. I don't question it no more. I expect it now. You do it so much, I look for it now. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. It's the book of Ephesians, chapter 1, starting at verse 4. According as he have chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love. Meaning, if we keep those laws, statutes, and commandments, we are holy, meaning separate. That means we're not with the other nations. We're with one another. We are gathered together and without blame because we keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. So there's no reason to be blamed for anything because we're not following heathenistic customs, you understand, or ways, and we're not sinning. You understand? And this is, like he said, according as he had chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, like he chose us to be his special people. In Deuteronomy 7, verse 6, it says, for art thou a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. You know what I'm saying? And he put thee on high above, he set thee on high above all the other nations on the earth. So we are his special people. And this is just another reiteration of it. The water for that precept, young man Hector, as usual. You on fire. Now we go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 8. It says, Jesus Christ, the same yesterday and today and forever. Now, didn't I bring that out earlier? These law, statutes, and commandments is yesterday, they are today, and they're going to be tomorrow. They're not bending, they're not folding, they're damn sure not changing. They're not adding nor subtracting. These is the ingredients. Follow the ingredients and you will bake a great cake. It's just that simple. We are the salt of the earth. Follow these instructions and remain flavorful. It's just that simple. There's no other way to dress it up, bro. There's no other way to put it, Israel. We have to keep these law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. If you want to keep your flavor, do what he say. Keep his laws, keep his statutes and commandments, and don't face his judgments. If we face his judgments, we screwed. You know that. I know that. We ain't got to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. Now, before I go to my last clip of videos, I got some good ones. This show greatness, and I got something recent. You know, it's still before our time, but it's a lot more recent than, you know. The book of Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 10. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Meaning, don't fear these damn devils. Don't fear these oppressors. If they sit there and try to force you to do their ways, don't do it. What they going to do? Throw you in jail? Unalive you? No sweat. You'll be back. That's the problem. We don't have no fear of the Most High God and no faith in the Lord. So we're scared to be to have our flesh put to rest. We're scared to be unalived by the oppressor for following the law, statutes, and commandments and defying them and defying oppression. You understand? And this is why the Lord say, fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed. Like, don't be dismayed at the signs of their so-called strength or their so-called power or their so-called bullying, because they ain't nothing but a bunch of goddamn bullies. It says, for I am thy God, and that is, he is our God. You understand? And no other. I will strengthen thee. He will give us the strength to endure to the end. You understand? He will give us the strength to gird up our loins and to endure unto the end, serving him in his name. Yea, I will help thee. The Most High will help us. He will do more than just give us strength. He will guide us. You understand? He will guide us to the end. Yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness, meaning the Most High will have his hand of righteousness upon us. He will have that righteous hedge over us. You understand? As long as we're serving him and his law, statutes, and commandments without question and without fear, there's nothing that the Most High God will not do for his children, like a father does for any of his children. You know what I'm saying? If you do everything your father tell you to do, your father will love you unconditionally. You understand? The Most High God loves us unconditionally, and he loves us even more unconditionally the more we keep his law, statutes, and commandments, and the more we put in our bricks, and the more we do his work and spread his word, and the more we raise up brothers and sisters in this truth. You understand? I pray you do, Israel. We're going to go to this next video.
At 20, fam, imagine curing leprosy at 23 years old, only to have a backstabber steal your work. Who I'm talking about? Her name was Alice Augusta Ball, a black chemist out of Hawaii in 1915, doing big things. Born in Seattle in 1892, she was up against a world that wasn't trying to see a black woman shine. But Alice, she was different, man. First black woman to snag a chemistry master's at the University of Hawaii at 23. She took on this nasty chalmugra oil, a leprosy treatment that had folks sick and burning. Alice figured it out, mixing up her ball method, a shot that worked, easing sores, letting people go home to their families. That's love, right? But here's the messed up part. She passed at 24 to unknown causes shortly after her discovery, not able to see the fortune of her work. What's even worse is a conniving low-down colleague stole her work, taking credit. Still, her work saved lives. Drop Elise in the comments if she deserves her flowers. Follow for more Black History vibes. Want more? Grab our free 5-story ebook and sign up for our daily newsletter at the link in our bio.
Imagine buying your own freedom, then becoming so wealthy that racists tried to burn down your empire twice. Meet Stephen Smith, born enslaved in 1795, who did the impossible. He bought his own freedom and became one of America's richest black men. By the 1830s, Stephen was running a massive lumber business, employing dozens of workers, and quietly funding the Underground Railroad. But here's where it gets wild. He was making so much money that white competitors couldn't stand it. They literally tried to burn down his lumberyard in 1834 during anti-black riots. Stephen rebuilt bigger. He owned entire city blocks, operated coal yards, and invested in real estate when most black people couldn't even vote. While dodging death threats, he was secretly housing escaped slaves and funding their journeys to freedom. By the 1860s, he was worth over $100,000. That's millions today. He used his wealth to support black churches, schools, and families, all while white supremacists plotted against him. When he died in 1873, he'd proven that black excellence couldn't be destroyed, only temporarily delayed. Stephen Smith built an empire from chains. His story should be legendary. Drop Stephen in the comments if this blew your mind. Follow for more hidden black history, and comment.
Historical massacres that will leave you saddened. In 1868, Opelousas, Louisiana, Democrats unalived up to 250 black Republicans to stop them from voting. The violence started when a white editor was beaten for supporting black rights, and the mob took out their rage on the entire black community. In 1873, Colfax, Louisiana, a militia unalived 150 black men defending a courthouse after an election. They burned the building with people inside. The black men were trying to protect a fair election result. In 1874, Vicksburg, Mississippi militias unalived up to 300 black citizens to stop them from voting. Black men were trying to protect their newly won rights after the Civil War, but the militias showed no mercy, leaving a trail of bodies. Drop a comment if you learned something new, and make sure to follow for more Black history. Black history you need to know. Imagine a time when the hockey world overlooked black brilliance, and a group of unsung heroes revolutionized the game's spirit. Their story? The Colored Hockey League of the Maritimes. Founded in 1895 by black Canadian intellectuals and church leaders who dared to challenge the status quo. Born in the late 19th century, these pioneers faced a society that silenced their potential, yet their ingenuity reshaped hockey forever. Their breakthrough came with innovations like the first slap shot and modern goal-handing style, enhancing speed, strategy, and competition like never before. This wasn't just play, it set new standards, ignored by history's spotlight due to white business interests. From their league's fierce matches to over a decade of progress, they blended skill and resilience, enriching hockey when opportunities were scarce. Why aren't these pioneers household names? Their story was nearly erased, but their legacy lives in every rink's echo. Drop a comment if you think their contribution deserves more recognition. Follow for more hidden Black history. Imagine a time when hospitals couldn't monitor your heart, and one man's genius made it possible. His name? Otis Boykin, a black American hero from the 1930s whose impact still echoes today. Born in a world that was full of dreamers, Boykins was a valedictorian of Booker T. Washington High, his mind already buzzing with brilliance. Fast forward to the early 60s, he's at CTS Labs, forging the pacemaker, a device that steadies heartbeats for millions with heart disease. This wasn't just tech, it was survival, his spark keeping the world alive. But Boykin's genius didn't stop there. He patented 26 devices, IBM computers, guided missiles, rewiring tomorrow from scratch. Then the twist. He sued CTS to claim his pacemaker, and they crushed him. His career sank, his name buried under silence. Imagine medicine today without that beat. Countless lives lost because they wouldn't let him shine. His brilliance built our world, so why is he a ghost in history books? Drop Boykin in the comments if his story deserves the spotlight. Follow at the Black History League for more hidden Black history. This is
truth about herself. If the history of this country were written, you would have to say that this country is a nation of thieves. It began by stealing this country from the red man. If I said to you that Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492, you would say that's correct. But now here comes this honky from Spain. There are already non-white people here, and they're not existing until he comes and discovers them. Ain't that something? All their heroes have been white. They make you bow down to George Washington as your hero. Did they ever tell you that that honky owned slaves? Did he ever tell you that? Yeah. Not only did he own slaves, he sold a black woman for a barrel of molasses, and he's supposed to be our hero. Our hero. Yeah. We have to begin to unbrainwash ourselves. The biggest lie that this country has told about us is that we are lazy. And here goes some of us running around. Yeah, you know how black people are lazy. We are lazy. White people are so lazy, they stole us to do her work for her, but she was too lazy to do it.
Son of an enslaved woman became the richest black man in the South, while the KKK burned outside his door. Robert Reed Church Sr. survived slavery, the Memphis riots, and a bullet to the head, and still he built an empire. After the Civil War, Church bought waterfront property nobody wanted and then turned it into Memphis gold. Real estate, banks, auditoriums. He didn't beg for inclusion. He created independent black wealth in a system designed to break it. While white mobs burned businesses, the church kept buying land and building safety nets. In 1906, he founded the first black-owned bank in Memphis to help other African Americans own homes. No inheritance, no handouts, just vision, risk, and brilliance. And yet he's barely mentioned in textbooks. Robert Church didn't just make money, he made a model, a blueprint, proof that in the middle of oppression, legacy can still rise, quietly, powerfully, permanently. The son of an enslaved woman became the richest black man in the South.
We are great, Israel. This is evidence and proof that we are a great people. So don't ever doubt yourself when you come up with an idea or an invention and nobody supports your idea or your vision. Because in all honesty, when you have a vision, only you see that vision. Some people don't see the vision with you until they see the finished product. They might not be on the same page as you. So when you have a vision or a dream, you follow it and you see it through. And then when you, at the end, we'll see what happens. You understand? We are great people, Israel. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we are great. And don't ever let no oppressor tell you nothing different. You understand? They will sit there and take your invention and your idea and laugh all the way to the bank and flourish. They have flourished off of every invention Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians created. The computer, the video game, the missile, rocket fuel, the hot comb, the traffic light, the light bulb, electricity, classical music. We created everything. The extension ladder for fire trucks, created by a sister at that. You understand? Like, we are the geniuses of this modern era. Period. So why are we going to keep failing our ancestors by sinning? Why are we going to keep failing our people by sinning? Why are we going to keep failing our nation and our God by not obeying the law, statutes, and commandments? If we keep the law, statutes, and commandments, we will continue to be great. If we go to the book of Psalms, chapter 9, verse 9, it says, the Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed and a refuge in times of trouble. You don't think we're in times of trouble now, Israel? You don't think we're in times of peril? Are we not in perilous times? We're faced with war. It's 2 steps from hitting the button, which I hope they do. Bring the Most High back sooner. You understand? Bring our King Yahushua Mashiach back. Let these angels come down and slay these oppressors with such precision. You understand? We are a great people, Israel. And if we keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, He will be our refuge for us being oppressed. He will be our refuge in times of trouble. The Most High God will protect us. The Most High God will love us. The Most High God will give us grace and love and compassion. You understand? And if we put the work in and serve Him, we might just get to see a little glory, just a little bit. But He gets the praise always. I'm nothing, but I'm even more nothing without these law, statutes, and commandments. I'm nothing without this Most High God. You understand, Israel? If we go to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 11, it says, now all these things happened unto them for examples, like basically example. And they are written for our admonition, meaning these law, statutes, and commandments and these stories that were told by the righteous were for us to admonish, admire, for us to look up to look forward to, for us to have a model, a form of a role model to mimic. You understand? Something a goal is set for ourselves to mimic something and someone great. You understand what I'm saying, Israel? It says, upon whom the ends of the world are come. We're at the end. Are we not? Are we not in the latter days, Israel? Are we not at the time? Are we not at the times of war and rumors of war? Are we not in the latter days? Think about it, Israel. Are we not in the day? Are we not in the end of days? So like it. We are in the end of days, Israel. Oh, perfect. Now we go to the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 1, it says, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. We're in the last days. We're in the latter days. Monkeypox, war, COVID, Transformer community, Alphabet community. They're trying to incorporate pedophilia into the Alphabet curriculum because they have normalized Sodom and Gomorrah in today's society so goddamn much that even that is going to become a normal thing. Your child between birth and the age of 11 don't know how to pee straight, clean up their room, or properly bathe and change their clothes. But they want to pass a law that makes them considered an independent adult at the age of 8, when the average child abduction age is between the ages of 6 and 11. How ironic they find a crease right in between, but say it's for work purposes. If that's the case, you got to apologize to China for them having sweatshops. If that's the case, you gotta apologize to Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia for invading them for having child labor, because they have these children in caves and dens, sitting there cutting up their dope and making their ammunition and guns and artillery. You understand? They know they in these foreign nations, they put their children to work the wrong way. Y'all want to pass a law, pass a righteous law. Allow blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians a little reprieve and some goddamn latitude to praise the Most High God and raise the dead. How about that? How about you pass a law that stops giving so much leeway to the Christian church or the Muslim mosque or Scientology or Egyptology? How about that? When are you going to wake the hell up and realize the end is here. Trying to keep us subdued, trying to keep us subjected and oppressed so we can serve you is not working and is not going to work anymore. So what are you going to do? Are you going to tuck tail and run, or are you going to continue just unaliving blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians? The ball is in your court, oppressor. You better choose wisely, because the Most High said, vengeance is mine, and he will repay those debts. Whether if you understand or not, I pray blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians do. And with that, that's my time, Israel. Y'all make sure y'all pay our tithes. Y'all tune in tomorrow for Preaching Officer 500 Kashaka Ward's Brotherhood class. And with that, that's my time, Israel. Shalom.